Hello everyone. Back in Phoenix Journal number 2, we'll be going over chapter 12, part 4. Greatest commandment. One among them, a scribe, taunted Emmanuel and asked, "Which one is the greatest of the commandments in the law?" He spoke and replied, "Whose law are you speaking about? Are you asking about the law of the emperor? Or are you thinking about the law of God? Or are you thinking about the law of the creation?" The scribe replied, "I am asking him of the laws of all three." Emmanuel responded, "The highest commandment in the law of the creation is, achieve the wisdom and knowledge, inasmuch as this will enable you to wisely follow the laws of the creation. The highest commandment of the laws of God is, you shall honor God as the ruler of the three human races, and follow his laws, for he is the king of wisdom of the three human races. But the highest commandment of the law of the emperor is this, you shall be subject to the emperor, and follow his laws, and give to him a tenth, for he is a ruler over the people. These are the noblest and greatest laws of the three, determined according to their type. But the other one is this, and equal to the first. You shall consider as omnipotent the creation alone, for it alone is constant and infinite. For God and the emperor are temporal, but the creation is eternal. These two commandments include the entire law of the prophets. The law of God and the emperor are human laws, and meant to rule men in an orderly and righteous manner. But the laws of the creation are laws of life, and the spirit are therefore eternal and constant. Likewise is the spirit of man immortal. For how could the creation itself ever cease to be? If a person is dead in the physical, the spirit lives on, and leaves its existence for the one beyond, where it continues to gather the wisdom of knowledge, according to the amount of spiritual wisdom gained. He himself decides his future and his return, as well as his activity later on in his experience. Since I too am a prophet and know the future, I tell you that I shall return as a representative of God, so I can sit in judgment of all those who follow false teachings and belittle the wisdom of spirit. Whose son am I? But when the Pharisees were together, Emmanuel asked them and said, "Who do you think whose son I am? Or am I?" They answered, "The son of David." He retorted, "How can I be the son of David? He has been dead for a very long period of time. I have been begotten of by Gabriel, the guardian angel. You do not even remember your own stories. Further, haven't you read or heard that David called me Lord when he said, the Lord said to my Lord, sit down at my right side so that I can place my enemies under your feet? For you are my stepson and my successor. So since David calls me Lord, how can I be his son?" No one could give him an answer. And they said secretly, "He blasphemes God and the prophets. Let us contemplate how to arrest him and condemn him that he be executed. For he endangers our very positions, and we shall no longer be respected by the people if we do not rid ourselves of this man." You gotta wait for what happens to all these preachers too. Wait until they see. Beware of scribes and Pharisees. Emmanuel then turned to the people and the disciples and said, "The scribes and the Pharisees sit on the chairs of the prophets. Everything they say, however, you refrain from doing, and keep not their rules, and do not act according to their works. They teach you false teachings, which they and their predecessors have falsified, that they might profit therefrom. They contrive heavy burdens that they might place them upon the shoulders of the people. But they themselves will not want to lift a finger in production of works. It's one of those, do as I say, not as I do. A lot of preachers do like that nowadays. Any labor that they do is done in the impressing of others. They enlarge their prayer belts, as well as the tassels on their clothing. They love to sit in the best places at the tables, and within the synagogues. They love to be greeted at the marketplace and be called master by the people. Just like a preacher man likes to be called a preacher or a pastor. Do not allow anyone to call you master until you have perceived the wisdom of the knowledge. Neither let anyone call you teacher until you follow the laws of the creation. For he who allows others to call him master and teacher, or other known as Lord, who does not have the wisdom of knowledge, will be denounced as a liar. He who will undeservedly exalt himself will be abased, and he who undeservedly abases himself will be esteemed lightly. Let him who is great in spirit consider himself great, And him who is small in spirit be considered himself small. And he who is middled in spirit be considered himself middling. It is stupid and unwise if man lets others consider him greater or smaller than he knows that he is, or that he actually is. Beware, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites who block spiritual progress for the people. You will not attain it easily, and you keep it from those who wish to attain it, because of false teachings and the power of your man-made laws. You hypocrites devour the homes of the widows, and devote long prayers for the sake of appearance. Therefore you shall stay in spiritual darkness all the longer for your foolishness. I'd like to make a point about that too. It's like the Pope. Why does he keep all the information locked up in a basement? Why does he not want it for the people to see it? And for the others to learn and get pictures of and actually spread it? Could it be that it could be some of these truths in there and they don't want it spread out and get too confusing for the people? Or they just don't want you to know and keep you in ignorance? It's easier to control you that way, is it not? Just like our government does. Woe unto you hypocrites, who pass through lands, countries, and seas in order to win a follower for Judaism. And after one has become a Jew, you turn him into an irrational and unreasonable child that is serving false teachings in a twofold manner, as do you. An oath is of no substance. Woe unto you, you blind leaders of false teachings, who say, if a person swears by the temple, that does not count. But if a person swears by the gold on the temple, that binds him. You fools and blinded ones, you are offspring of evil. Why do you let people swear knowing that an oath is not binding and is a worthless act? How can you say that if a person swears by the altar, that does not count? If a person swears through sacrifice, that is binding. You blind and false teachers, who gave you the right to demand an oath or to swear, since the law of creation stated that an oath should not be given? Your speech should always be yes or no. A man is known by his words, to whether it's truth or it's lies. You can swear to all you want on a Bible, it doesn't matter. You're even told not to swear by anything on the heaven nor earth. You can't swear by heaven, can't swear by God, you don't swear to God, you don't swear on your Bible, it doesn't matter. Truth or lies. Which are you of? You blind and false teachers, who gave you the right to demand an oath or swear, since the laws of creation say that oaths should not be given? Your speech should always be yes or no. Therefore, he who swears by anything on earth or the universe swears by something fleeting, which is without substance. And therefore, an oath is of no substance either. Therefore, he who swears by anything commits a crime with respect to the truth of his word, and makes it doubtful. I can say the same, everything, all our politicians that got to swear in to duty, to supposedly do the truth, but how many of them actually do it based on their works? They can say all they want, but do they actually do what they're going to say they're going to do? Very few in between. Woe unto you, you blind leaders of a horde of blind who say, this should be done and that should not be left undone, since you represent a false teaching. It's like I say, you got to give your 10% to tithe to the church, do you not, brother? It's got to be done. You got to get to the heaven, don't you? Woe unto you who increase tenfold mint, mammary, dill, and carry away seed, and consider the least important the most important in the law, namely the right to freedom and knowledge and the truth of the creation. You are foolish and blind leaders. You are mosquitoes and swallow camels, which you cannot digest. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites who keep cups and bowls outwardly clean, yet inside they are full of rapaciousness, and greed. First you must purify that which is inside the cup or inside your body, so that which is on the outside also becomes and remains pure. So you too appear godly and good in front of the people. But inwardly you are full of hypocrisy and full of falsehood and violations. It's like this. You work on the Spirit inside, and you become that through your works through that. It's like, some of these wannabe Christians, they look so Christian and Christ-like. But at the end of the day, they're the biggest sinners at the end of the day behind the doors. They look like they're doing something good, though, whether it be from their followings, whatever it may be. But they got you. Fooled you. Woe unto you hypocrites, who build tombs for the prophets and adorn their graves of the just, and speak, if we had been at the time of our fathers, we would not have become guilty with them in the shedding of the prophets' blood. Woe to you hypocrites who secretly call the dead from the common people, and talk with them, and believe them. But they only speak of that which they already thought wrongly during their lifetime. You are not great enough to call upon the dead who have some wisdom and tell of the truth. You give testimony to yourself that you are children of those people who killed the prophets and falsified their teachings. Therefore, you fulfill the measure of your fathers, since you end your life without understanding, and you will have trouble in learning in the future. You generations of vipers, how can you be great in spirit without having any understanding? All the just blood which was shed through you on earth will come back to you, beginning with the first prophet, whom your fathers and forefathers murdered, to the blood of Zacharias, the son of Barachias, whom you have killed between the temple and the altar. And therefore all the blood of the future which will be shed will be of your accountability. Verily, verily, I say to you, all this shall come upon you, upon your race, for a very long time yet to come and pass. And let me just say that it will come and pass here in this generation. Just wait and see what happens to them. That'll be it for this video.